Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee. There we go. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday. The first Sunday of the new year, first Sunday in January, first Sunday in Q1, all the first when it comes to this Sunday in 2025 for another Success Starter series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That ain't changing because it's a new year. New year, same process, okay? We continuing the things that worked in the old year. We're bringing in new things as well. And today we're going to be talking about simplifying your year. We're going to be talking about the secrets to goal setting that sticks. And so because it's the new year, and honestly, this is the first full week of the year, I know some people are still working on getting their 2025 goals together, their January goals, their Q1 goals together. Drop below, let me know. Do you have your goals for the year done? Do you have your goals for the month done? Where are you in the goal setting process? And if you have a word or a phrase for the year, drop that below and let me know that as well. My word for the year is committed to being consistent, determined to stay disciplined. For those who don't know, 2024, look, I'm trying to go back to 2023. My word for the year was consistent, and I turned it into an acronym. And so I was able to be consistent last year, so that's why I'm bringing that consistency into this year. But one thing I realized that I wasn't as disciplined as I could have been, even though I was consistent. I wasn't necessarily as disciplined as I could have been. And so that's why my phrase for this year is committed to stay consistent, determined to be disciplined. And specifically, my word or phrase for January is about starting strong with an intentional foundation. Because of the fact that it is the new year, and with the new year starting in the middle of the week, some people had some issues with that because it's like yesterday was one year, today's another year. I still need a little bit more time to get ready for this year, and that's fine. So that's why I want you to start strong with an intentional foundation, which is what I'm looking at for myself. Because even when it came to me setting myself up for this year, there were some things that I needed to work on. And I'm jumping into the topic without really introducing myself. You got your goals. You're working on putting those into small, actionable steps. Perfect. I love that. So for those who don't know, I'm Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach. I'm all about empowering women to find that hidden time in their day, time they can use to pour back into themselves to achieve their goals, pursue their purpose, their passions, their life purpose while still maintaining their current responsibilities and taking care of self. Because ultimately my goal is to help you to transform the way that you look at productivity so that you can understand that work-life balance is possible, that time management is possible, that all of those things are possible for you. And so today, like I said, we're going to be talking about simplifying your year, the secret to goal settings that stick. And so for those of you who have your goals, for those of you who don't have your goals and you're trying to get them finalized, this live should hopefully help you in that, because reverse engineering, creating those small action steps is the thing that you need in order to move you forward, to be able to take action, not just this year, but in life. And so that's why for me, my phrase for the month is about starting strong with an intentional foundation, because if you don't have a strong foundation, if you're not starting out with something solid, you're going to consistently be having to go back to the drawing board to make changes. I live in Florida. Florida got sinkholes. If you build a house on a sinkhole, what it's going to do? Sink into that hole? Exactly. Because that's not a strong foundation. That's not a solid foundation. And I get sinkholes develop over time. You might not necessarily know they were there and things like that. But if you know that something isn't working, why are you going to start building your year on that thing that's not working? It don't make sense to it. Exactly. And so that's why I want to talk to you guys about why, the first point, why most resolutions fail. Why do most goals fail? Because you're not starting with a strong foundation. You know that this hasn't worked in the past, but yet and still you're like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Make that make sense. What's insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results? Very definition of insanity. Why would you continue trying to do something, show up in a way, continue to do this thing if you've seen time and time again how it hasn't worked? Yes, be consistent, be persistent, all those things, but not in the thing that literally isn't working. Make some adjustments, make some tweaks. So why do most resolutions fail? Most resolutions fail because you're not starting out with that solid foundation. Like you said, you have those goals, but you're trying to get those actionable steps. Because a lot of people set goals, but they don't have a plan on how they're going to actually reach those goals. Those small actionable steps, those things that you have to reverse engineer to create the steps and the guideposts for how you're going to get from point A to point B. Because right now you're at point B. You have this goal. You know the end result that you want. But how are you going to get there? You can't just teleport there. Well, honestly, even if you could teleport there, that's a plan for how you're going to get there. What steps are you going to take to get there? Exactly. It could be the most beautiful home, but if it's built on a sinkhole, It's gonna do nothing. And so most resolutions fail because a goal is nothing more than a resolution is nothing more than a goal. Because you're saying like I'm resolving this year to do X, Y, and Z thing. That's a goal. You know the end result. You know what it is you're looking to have by the end of the year. Who it is you're looking to become. What it is you're looking to do. But how are you gonna get there? Most resolutions and most goals fail and aren't successful because you know the end result, but you don't take the time to create a plan to get there. And so the next thing I want to talk about is how you can align your goals with your life. So building off of that, if you know this end result, you have a goal, you've set your goals, but you don't have a plan for how you're going to get there. You need to work on aligning your goals with your life. And so for those who might not have heard me say it, like in my stories or in my posts, I was talking about how this year I'm going to be focusing more so on like quarterly goals. Because what I found last year is that life was lifing a lot, mainly work life was lifing a lot. And because of that, it was bleeding into personal life and bleeding into my business life. Not in the sense of I was bringing work home, but because of the obligation and requirements that were at work, it was giving me less downtime at work. Because typically I use my lunch break at work to take care of stuff, make calls for personal life, get those appointments set, planning stuff for personal life, or, excuse me, I had hiccups, or as well, working on my business during my lunch break. And so when work life was work lifing, I didn't necessarily have those lunch breaks to be able to work on my business or take care of stuff for my personal life, which is fine. But also there were times where I was in trial and we was getting out of trial 6:30ish at night. By the time I got home, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock. I go to bed at 8:30, which meant that I had no time after work to do those things that I also wasn't getting time to do during my lunch break. So, I'm growing, okay. Look, hopefully the growth that I'm having from these hiccups is mental growth, emotional growth. We're not trying to physically grow. We good on that. And so when you look at it, when you think about like, okay, we talk about work-life balance, and I say that it's possible, and it is, but you also have to understand what your capacity is. Like, for example, I know you're a teacher, and school's about to start back. I know for at least here in Florida, it starts back next week, or this week, I should say. When school starts back for teachers, y'all been off for the last 2-3 weeks, chilling, on vacation, living your best life, planning, having fun, doing whatever it is you do. You deserve the break. Have your break. But now that school's about to start back, if you're involved in extracurricular activities, when you have all these other things to do, what does that then look like? Work-life balance is possible, but no matter what's happening at work or in life, in some way they're going to intersect because, exactly, capacity is key. Because, for me, I'm not a teacher. I ain't got no kids in school, so the fact that school was out, it affected me when it came to traffic. Because school is out, I'm able to get to work literally leaving at the same time 30 to 40 minutes earlier. Which means I now have 30 to 40 extra minutes at work to work on stuff. Like, I'm not going to just sit at home now for 30, 40 extra minutes because it's going to take me the same amount of time to get work at that same time. I'm going to get to work and put this time to use. And so when you think about your capacity and you think about how am I going to align my goals with my life, those are the things you have to start thinking about. You have to think about your capacity. What is your capacity? And that's why I'm focusing more so on these quarterly goals, because when you start looking at and thinking about the year as a whole, yes, set yearly goals, but you need to focus on how you're going to hit that each quarter and each month. And that's where it comes to like the whole idea of this live of like the secrets to goal setting that stick is being able to reverse engineer, to simplify the goal, to understand what it is you need to work on in the immediate future, in the immediate forefront to go after it. And so the reason I was saying that I was going to work on quarterly goals is because of all of that. Because yes, I can generally look at my calendar and have this idea of what I want the year to be and what that's going to look like. But when things start happening in other areas that I don't necessarily have as much control over, i.e. work, I'm an attorney. I'm in trial. Sometimes trials last a couple days. Sometimes they last a week. Sometimes they might last weeks. And so if I'm in a trial for weeks, my capacity outside of that is going to be affected. Which means I have to look at what's in front of me to say that, okay, this month I might not take on one-on-one clients. I'm only going to focus on the strategy sessions because those are single sessions that I can focus on, as opposed to having a client that I have to meet with each week, check in with throughout the week, and they might be asking me questions throughout the week as well. So understanding your capacity is important. And so that's why, again, me saying I'm focusing on these quarterly goals is because I can look at my calendar right now. I can look at my calendar for the year, and it's real sporadic pretty much after the month of April, really March. No, I'll say April. It's real sporadic after April. Like, yeah, I have like a couple conferences or whatever like that that I went to last year, and so I know it's going to be the same time this year. But that's really in business and personal life. Work, even though we have these annual conferences, sometimes they switch up the month, so we can't really block it off and put it on our calendar because we don't know when the next date is unless they announce it for us. But because of that, by me focusing on the next quarter, the next 60 to 90 days in front of me, I can look at my work calendar and I can see my court date for the next 60 to 90 days. There are a couple sporadic ones, like one or two maybe in April or May, but pretty much after May, I think, it might even be April. I don't have any court dates. Those court dates are going to start to be set in the next month or a month and a half. Right now, if I look at my calendar, January and February is where most of my dates are. A little bit in March. And so when I can look at that and say that, okay, do I have any trials that are likely going to occur in the next month, month and a half? Yes or no? I can answer that question. I might not know the exact date the trial is going to happen, but I can say, yes, I know for sure one trial is going to happen the end of this month, the beginning of next month. Cool. So because of that, I'm going to utilize that to determine my capacity when it comes to coaching. Like the example I was using of, am I focusing on one-on-one coaching? Am I focusing on the productivity strategy session, those single sessions for those 6 weeks? So when we look at and we simplify our goals in that way and looking at our capacity, that's what I mean by aligning your goals with your life. If you know that you want to do these things, what does that look like in this phase? So when you set your goals for the year, start thinking about, how am I going to break that down by the quarter? And then once you understand how you're going to break that down by the quarter, how am I going to break that down by the month? Because you might look and see that this ain't going to work for this month. I need to shift the goal. And you might not be shifting the ultimate yearly goal. You might be shifting it specifically for this month, knowing that this month might be busy, but I know that this month might be slower. And so as a result of that, I'm going to focus heavier in that area. So again, using teachers, for example, unless you teach summer school or you decide to pick up a second job or, do day camp or whatever it is you might do, you know that you have summer months. Typically we know when you have to come back to set up the classroom, start doing lesson plans, those type of things, teacher meetings, all the school planning stuff. And you have Christmas break as the heavy times that you're like, okay, if it's a project that I really want to work on that's going to involve a lot of energy and a lot of time that I might not have during the school year, here's where I'm going to plan for it. So when it comes to, hey Angel, when it comes to choosing your goals and making your goals fit your life instead of your life fit your goals, that's what I mean. You're in control of your goals. Hey Alexis, you're in control of your goals. You're in control in some regard to your life. You might not be in charge completely of what happens, but you're in charge of how you respond to it. And so if you see these things are happening, what is the response that you're going to have to be able to take that control and control the controllable? And so again, when it comes to aligning your goals with your life, you have to make sure that you're taking control of what it is that's happening in life. Because even once we know something is happening, it's going to be some things that pop up and that we weren't expecting. It wasn't on the radar. It could be for the better. It could not be for the better. But whatever it is, things are going to pop up. Exactly, Angel. You're in control of your goals. So have you set your goals for the year, for the quarter, or for the month? Are you still working through those? Either way, it's okay. Again, like I was saying in the beginning of the live, some people have been kind of waiting for this full week of the year to really kind of finish out get in their groove. Because even for me, when I found myself setting my goals, I was working on them 2025 goals and I kept getting stuck. I kept getting distracted by them. I kept why can't I get through this? But then when I switched and started working on my monthly goals, my goals for January and my Q1 goals, they was flowing. And then I was like, okay, now that I got this done, let me go back to these 2025 goals. And I kept getting stuck. Because it's less predictability there, and that's okay, but I can still have this ultimate idea of what it is that I want my life to be. And I actually ended up switching up the way that I set my goals this year, and I think I like it. We're going to see. We still fleshing it out because my goals are less definitive, if that makes sense. Do I have my goals? Where they at? Oh, they in this plan over here. Let's prop this up so I can't really show you. But when I can pull them up on this. When I look at and think about some of the goals that I set, my goals, they're still goals, but within them I made sub goals. And so then with those sub goals, I'm then able to focus from there. So I did more of, I want to, I'm going to try to pull them up in a minute, y'all, and see if I can tell y'all some of the goals that I set for this year. But You have to figure out in what way, hey Devontae, in what way are you taking control of your goals, taking control of your life? Because if you don't, who will? Because we don't want life to be life is gonna life no matter what. But we don't want life to life in a way that we don't know what it is that's happening. So wait, how you said you in control of your goals, but you still trying to figure out what you want out of this year, Angel? Talk to me. Talk to me. Um, and so when you look at it, when you think about that, what does that ultimately look like? What does that ultimately mean? And so then the last thing that I really want to talk about is a framework that you can utilize for this. Y'all, for those who don't know, I wrote a book, The Lee Method. No, it's not the Lee Method. It's Lee's Laws of Productivity, but within it is the Lee Method. And the Lee Method is 3 simple words that you can use to walk through this. Look, examine, and execute. So we talked about looking already when we were talked about why most resolutions fail, why most goals don't happen. We examined when we talked about how am I going to align my goals with my life. And that actionable plan is that execution. What is that reverse engineering? What is the thing that you're going to do in order to make that happen? And so I'm going to be hosting a masterclass at the end of this month. G to G, get into your goals. It's all about going from goal setting to goal planning. Because what we've been doing and what we've been talking about is that we have these goals set. But what is that plan? Okay, Angel, you said you're claiming it in advance. That's the plan. So you've set the goals, or you're thinking about what you want the goals to be. We have these goals that are set. But what's the plan that's going to make them happen? You have to have a course of action. You have to have a framework. You have to have a plan to hit the goals that you set. You set goals, but what's setting a goal without a plan for how you're going to get there? You have the end result, but how are you going to get from point A to point B? What are the steps you're going to take along the way? What are the things you're going to do in between? So claim it in advance, but claim that you're going to have a plan that you're going to be able to walk through and work through to get you to those goals. What is that? What does that look like? How are you going to go about doing that? You have to put the work in. I mean, you can set goals all you want, but you're going to be at the end of the year still saying, I'm trying to figure out what I wanted for this year. Because you never made a plan. And because you never made a plan, you never took action on that plan. We can't have fictitious goals this year. We can't. We too grown. We too grown to be still sitting out here with this stuff in la la land. We need courses of action. We need plans. Set the goals. Please set the goals. I tell y'all to do a brain up, make a to-do list every week because I want you to have a goal for what it is you want to happen this week. But what's the plan to get it done? Exactly. You got to work. So what work are you going to be willing to put in? And so if you want to join the free masterclass, I'm working on getting the landing page and all that stuff up. You can comment the word 2025 below, and I'll send you the link. That's on my to-do list for this week, is to get the registration page up and all of that. Because like last week, this came to me when I was talking to my nieces about goal setting and realized that the same questions and the same things that they were struggling with because they had these goals, but they weren't really fully tangible. And so I was helping them to kind of like tweak them to figure out like, okay, what does this look like for you? What does this mean to you? Go to the same questions and conversations that I be having with adults. So the issue doesn't stop just because you're an adult. It happens in childhood. It happens as a young adult. It happens in adulthood. We all have the same problem. We're setting goals without plans. So the secret to goal setting that sticks is having a plan for how you're going to hit those goals. And so the whole idea behind simplifying your year is about shrinking those goals down. Not simplifying your year, but not simplifying in the sense of I'm not setting big goals, but simplifying the end result. Reverse engineering it. We have that end result. Now let's reverse engineer it for what does that look like for each quarter, for each month, that you can then break it down to make your to-do list and do your brain dump for the week, and you're going to utilize that and make a to-do list for the day. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all picking up what I'm throwing down? Because we don't want to get to June, to July. We don't want to get to halfway through the year. God forbid we get to the end of the year. Like, how am I going to do this again? We need to be consistently and constantly checking in with our goals. They need to be front and center. You can't be, that's why you can't have these fictitious goals. You need to have them written down so that you can look at them, so that you can consistently and constantly check in with them. What is that process? Are you doing it? How are you going to do it? You can get registered for the free masterclass by commenting 2025 below, and I'm gonna send you the link when I get it up. But I'm gonna put you on the wait list so I know who it is. I need to see the link. Okay, got you. And if you like, look, I don't. You got the masterclass, all fine and dandy. Thank you for the free. But you like, look, I need one-on-one support to really work through this. I'm a person who like, I'm ready now. I don't want to wait till January 2025. I don't want to wait 20 more days. I don't want to wait 3 weeks. I'm ready to start now. Just comment below and send me a DM. Let's have a conversation. Let's look at what one-on-one coaching can look like, us walking through this process together. Because look, by the time in the masterclass, we could be halfway through one-on-one coaching. You can already have your goals, and you can be on the masterclass side. Let me tell you how this works. So in order to simplify your year, in order to have goal setting that's going to actually stick, you got to have a plan. You have to be able to look, to examine, and create a game plan to execute. The secret is that execution. The secret is that game plan, not just the goals that are set. So I want you to be able to look back over 2024 even and look and figure out, where did it go wrong? And when I'm saying where did it go wrong, I'm not talking about a whole year. The goals that you set, but you didn't hit, maybe you were close and you was like, okay, I see why this goal I hit. For example, I had a running goal. My goal was to run 300 miles in last year, 2024. I'm doing it again this year and I added some more to it, but here we are. And I hit that goal. I ended up going over because I wasn't really sure, because one of my checklists, like my December goal said I hit it, but then my 2024 goal said I was missing like 8 miles. So I did an extra 8 miles just to be safe because I wanted to make sure I hit the goal. But anywho, the reason that I hit that goal is because every quarter I was checking in on that goal. And then after the halfway point of the year, when I realized I was behind on what the quarterly progress should be, I started checking in on that goal every month. And then once December hit, I made sure I was checking in on that goal every week. Because I don't run every day. I only get to run on the weekends or the days that I'm off work. So I have to start consistently checking in on that goal. So I hit that goal. So the secret to goal setting is being able to have a plan to execute. And so even this year, again, like I said, I set the goal again. I'm running 300 miles this year. And so I decided, I know that means that every quarter I have to run 75 miles, which means every month I have to run 25 miles. And so I have to look at the calendar to figure out what days am I going to be able to run. Like this month, we have a couple extra days. Like obviously we were off the first New Year's Day. MLK is this week, is this month, and then I have the weekend days. So I'm able to count how many days that I have that I know for sure that I can run. And then reverse engineer that into the 25 miles that I have to run for the month. I don't know if work from home is still going to be a thing. I typically try to work from home on Fridays, which means I can get to run on Fridays. But every Friday, I can't work from home. If I'm in trial, I'm probably going to be in trial on Friday. I can't work from home. Like even this week, I can't work from home this Friday when I got a meeting. But number two, I have court. Next week, I got court as well on Friday. So I know I won't be able to work from home that week. Let alone if it's still going to be a thing. But I have to consistently and constantly check in on that goal. So what are you doing? How are you consistently checking in on your goals? You're setting the goals, but what is the plan to get there? So when I look at my running goal, my plan for how I'm going to get there is every month I'm looking at the calendar, counting how many definitive running days I know I have, and dividing that by 25. What does that look like for how many miles every time I go out there and hit that pavement that I need to make sure that I'm logging? And then if I get bonus days in, or something happens to where it's like, okay, bam, I'm able to work from home today. I'm off this day. Here's additional. So here's how I can utilize this to get ahead, because hello, I live in Florida. We got hurricane season, we got rainy season. I prefer not to run in the rain, but if I got to get out there and do it to hit the goal, I'm going to have to do it. But if I can front load and start doing the work now to make sure I'm setting myself up so that come the summer months when it's hurricane season, when it's raining, I know that I got a couple extra miles banked. So what does that look like for you? How is it that you're going to show up? I want you to simplify your year. I want you to have and set goals, but not only have and set the goals, have a plan for you how you're going to reach them. Because ultimately, the secret to goal setting that sticks is a plan. So comment 2025 to get registered for the masterclass, or send me a DM. Or if you have questions, reach out. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. So today we talked about why most resolutions fail or why most goals fail. We talked about how to align your goals with your life, and we talked about what we talked about having an actionable goal framework, that LEAD method, but specifically that that execution phase. Okay. So yeah, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for the first Success Starter series to kick off the year. I'm dropping gems. I want you to make sure you get registered for the masterclass because we're going to be talking all about how to set goals, how to align your goals with your life, how to reverse engineer your goals, how your 2025 goals ultimately are going to play into your monthly goals. And because the masterclass is going to be coming into the last week of the month, you're going to be able to utilize that to help you plan for the month of February so that you can start putting it to work. Okay? Okay. So until next time, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Success Starter series. Until next time, next week, same time, same place, Coach Lee is out.